American history. I'm stopping anywhere in the timeline. COVID, around 2019, 2020. Trump calls it Wong Fu. The legend continues. Who knows what to call that thing? It's so many facets. I can remember the last car that I owned was right before COVID happened. I had I feel like I'm talking through because it is, I'm talking through a zombie apocalypse right now. What were we all doing before the apocalypse happened? I had a normal life just like everybody else. I had a car. Well, most everybody else. Not everybody's functional. I had a car before COVID happened. I surrendered my keys. It was like I forget the make and model. I had a regular job. It was like at one of the bullshit American chains, some cookie cutter food joint. And I wasn't making my payments. I made one payment on that thing. It was that expensive on my income. But the payment exceeded my income. But I needed a way to get to work safely. There's no buses that have a routine in the South. I can't reveal all those trade secrets of where the buses that do run south go. My car. So my daily routine when I had a car was, I can't get into all that either. The way that I survived American employment. Ongoing, how did I survive that? But I can at least just tell you this. Because not everybody's my friend. I can't reveal all my trade secrets here publicly. What was I doing before COVID? Bullet point, I don't want to talk about my mother. But I want people to know that I was talking to my mother when COVID happened. And it's a part of our, I can't get into all that publicly because if I got into all that publicly, that would help a lot of my enemies. What was going on between me and my mother during COVID. So, and so in that timeline, I'm not sure, but I want to say I think that Biden, Joseph was president at that time. I want to say when the Wong Flu, COVID happened. It was under Biden. I'm not exactly sure if it was those two were consecutive, right on top of each other in presidency, fighting for the crown, Biden and Trump. So I'm not exactly sure. Who was in charge of America during COVID. And I don't feel like looking that information up. But I'm going to say Biden because I want to say Trump ended in around 19... because Biden didn't finish his full term. I'm not sure if Biden had 2 terms or 1 term. And I'm going to say it was Joe. I'm going to say it was Biden. And So now I was living with my then ex. I get sick to my stomach, lose my lunch if I say his name. The one that put me out. There's more than one that put me out. And so I was staying at our place. You say his place when your partner pays all the bills. He didn't pay all the bills. But that's the story I was supposed to tell everybody. And I did when we were together. At one time I was paying a $200-300. It fluctuated because it was our cable bill. Or else he'd have put me out. Not a spa bill for me to get my nails done, not a shopping bill, but that was $200-300 to go to him. Shows you how uneducated he is. It's not like he wanted me to just give him that money out of pocket. I'd have given it to him as a woman to stay alive. Shows you how stupid he is. He wanted that money to go to a cable bill. What a waste of money. Looking back, I'm alive and here to tell my story. Women, weak men, children that are targets to that sort of thing. Do what I did and survive it. I got a couple of black guys right now that know I don't want to talk to them, but I'm talking to them out of sheer survival. A couple of Hispanic ones, the poor, not the hot, rich Hispanics, the poor ones. They know I don't want them talking to me, and as a woman, it's sheer survival. Follow my manifesto. Surviving and thriving in America as a woman daily. So, where was I? I was when I had a car, and before, I'm gonna skip it back. Before I surrendered my keys was before, I don't know if it was before COVID or during COVID. But I remember before COVID now, having a regular bullshit American job, having a car, having a couple of cars, not simultaneously, and going to the typical American bullshit food job. And that car was paid off. I'm super proud of that. I paid off the car. And once that car was paid off, I can't say publicly what happened once I paid that car off, but it was taken away from me once it was paid off. So that's something that I would disclose only to my elite royals, people whom I trust, how to survive that type of situation once you've paid off a vehicle. And so I'm getting to work on this. I'm living the low budget dream. I'm getting to work on time in my paid off car, working at my American bullshit job. American bullshit sums it up. And, lost that car. It was taken away from me, so I had to get snaked and roped into a hoodwink type situation of a new vehicle I couldn't afford. So I lost that job. Can't remember how I got out of it. When I want to say when I had this used car, somewhere in that timeline as I'm jumping from bullshit to bullshit to bullshit for work, somewhere in that timeline, my COVID happened. Somewhere I'm busy working, COVID happened. And somewhere in that, me and one of them exes broke up. Somewhere in that time, me and one of them exes broke up. somewhere in the timeline, me and one of my, I broke up with him, not the other way around, and as I'm adjusting, I'm going through this transition point with him, adjusting to my life, being divorced, and we're still living together. And I'm not gonna get into all that again. Trade secrets and enemies don't mix, and so I can't get into all that in public. But so I'm transitioning into COVID life. I like to call it living the COVID life. And I was doing things that had never been done, doing a lot of things that people didn't know what to do, how to do, and I'm getting used to life right now with a new lens. I'm not used to seeing things, so I'm seeing things. I won't get into all of it, but I will say I didn't know he was using me because he didn't know how to cope with COVID. He was using me for answers. So a lot of people in the world right now don't know how to cope with this new America. You know, America without people getting paid to work. TSA isn't getting paid to work right now. It's like an episode of Walking Dead I saw where they went down and asked everybody what was they doing before the apocalypse happened. Well, this is me letting you know what I was doing before the apocalypse happened. And you know now some of it. You can't do it all in 124 hours. I can't tell you in 124 hours what all I was doing before the apocalypse happened. So you got these people that don't know how to handle life before, during, after COVID. I'm not sure where we are in their story as where COVID is, because people are still catching COVID. And so you have people who are working for TSA and not getting paid cash, walking around with a letter. And people don't pay cash for anything anymore. It wasn't that way as far as I know before COVID happened. After COVID happened is the first I heard of food banks. I don't know how long food banks have been around, but you don't pay cash for that. You don't pay cash for food anymore in America. In a ton of places, you don't pay cash for food anymore. I don't know what it's like at the last time I went to a grocery type store, it was still cash. It was not super clear, but clear enough that you pay cash for your items. So COVID really changed the country, and now being homeless is the new normal. People who weren't homeless before, I wasn't homeless before COVID. But I'm surviving a new Tyson. DJ is, not super cute, but he's not Tyson. At least I could take him out in public and not be embarrassed. He's somewhat decent looking. I'm surviving new Tyson, new school Tyson. This one wants kids bad. And I'm at an age where it's dangerous to conceive. It's dangerous for a 40 or more to try to conceive children, and he could care less about my health and my body. Now, surviving New Tyson. I remember now buying a bicycle during COVID. Not that I hadn't had them before. I had bicycles before when I was under 30. In between cars, when the car broke down. And it brought up in a whole new world. Whole new world. Brought in the homeless community. You're more prone to, You're more prone to homeless when you don't have the protection of your own vehicle. More prone to panhandling. So it just opened me up into a whole new world. A world that I was able to ignore when I was, who doesn't enjoy that luxury of having a car and being able to blow past the homeless who panhandle? Anyone with sense, right? So COVID brought me into, COVID slapped our resources, brought me into a bicycle. There was a bicycle shortage for a good long while, waiting list. That didn't affect me because I had places I knew to go and purchase. I'm not going to say where they were. And bike theft, it still is a big issue in America. Because bicycles are better than walking. That's one thing that was off-putting to me about DJ, that he wasn't bragging, but it's not like he was exactly trying to help me get transportation. And there he is, somewhat of a grown man, got him a bicycle. I'm walking, and you hawking me down. I'm not gonna get into everything on that topic. It's too grotesque, but I'm like, that tells me everything I want to know about you as a person, as a male. Since he's a man child, we'll say male. As a male, you got to take accountability for your actions, and that's not the kind of guy I want around me. You make sure that you have transport, but I don't. And you're trying to slither your way to eat up my food. You're making yourself at home in my fridge. So, and I can remember when the country was still doing stimulus payments. I'm not going to get into that. I remember the stimulus payments. I don't know if that was before or after my arrest. And then in the midst of all that chaos, we're switching hands on authority in the nation. That shit was already sideways. We're trying to get used to one, you gotta get used to another. We have to go from even though he's my kindred soul Gemini, we share the same zodiac, me and Trump, I'm still getting used to a new person. Just got used to Joe now in the midst of COVID, how you say that, COVID going on. We getting used to the new change in hands and presidency in the midst of all that shit. Shaking the country up, but that's God doing it. He's shaking things up. He's going to continue to shake things up. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. So, change presidency and during COVID. Change from Biden. Sleepy Joe got put out because he was incompetent. Country was a spectacle for a while. Trump got the country's not a super joke, but somewhat of a joke. And he is doing the necessary changes to keep us from being the laughing stock. And the first thing is restoring the authority. You can't have criminals running over ICE agents in their cars, and I don't just mean that literally. I mean that as all the above. They have no respect for the chain of command here. You will, if people don't let him into Illinois with those guards, and you have no respect for the authority figures, then we will go on to be what he is. Trump put it well said, the laughing stock of all the other countries worldwide. So that's what needs to happen. The order needs to be restored in this country. The criminals are taken over. And so COVID happened. And I'm not going to get into all the purchases that I made when I had the money, but I made some very necessary purchases. Some of that stuff came up stolen living with my last ex. Some things that he wasn't able to acquire that I was. He stole some of my property. Explains why he let me stay with him so I could wait on God's command to move out. Figured he'd just keep sticking his hands in the cookie jar and taking what he needed. This is when things were hard to find. Toilet paper was one of the main things me and him never argued about, but he stole that was mine. Like, there was a whole list of things, even now, that are hard to find in stores that COVID wiped out because of tariffs and COVID and Trump's ongoing dispute with things that need to be addressed. And it's good that he is in office because he's not a pussy, and he is willing to address issues that other leaders are not willing to address. And that was the Wong Fu man did start that damn disease to get back in America. And he said what I was thinking. He said what everybody was thinking. And that it's tied to Asia. And the Asians and America never have got along, man. The Asian man and the American man have never gotten along. That's just who we are. That's just what it is. It is what it is. And to each his own. Kevin Mayer was such a nerd, but he could appreciate that. He said, Lisa, what was that you just said? It is what it is. He's like, I never heard that before. He's such a nerd, but I'm going to use that for myself. It is what it is, yes. So, so I got stuff coming up stolen. My mind is too warped. He's making me crazy. So my mom making me crazy because we were still talking somewhat during COVID. Got all these things making me crazy. Then I'm stuck in this cult-like state. I'm still in Mississippi and I'm moving around, bouncing, moving, working. And one bad employee after another. I'm finding all these books that were not bad. I found some good books in the American libraries. And so history. Remote. I found a remote school during COVID. That's one thing. I'm not sure how long this video is going to go. I'm not sure how far God is going to call me to go, how far the demon is going to call me to go, but remote wasn't the first time I had a remote job, working remotely from home, but it was the most progressive, most advanced remote work I found. It's out of VA, Virginia. I'm proud of my school, Liberty University. So, I won't rule out, they might still call me. They pay cash to their employees. There might be a remote job for me there or tutor.com. It's not over to the fat lady sing, and she ain't singing yet. They've been trying to recruit me for a while now, so has the military. So remotely, when I had been used to working in person. And this is when I was also, should never do this to yourself, but I needed to keep a roof over my head. You should never work and go to school. You're not going to focus on your studies, so my grades dropped. I had to drop out. Couldn't make the grade, so I don't know what timeline that was. It was during COVID. Somewhere in the early 2020s. I have returned to school after being out about 10 years. I was out about 10 years from USA, and that was my returning back. So remotely, so people want to know, my enemies also included, want to know how does the remote thing work? Remotely, how does that work? Most people I know are behind and still working in person. How does having a remote job work? Well, that's something that only the elite and the royals I could tell them. I had a dream about the Ugandan people. I'm gonna leave it at that.